well, listen, there is no perfect place in the entire world. And I know there are people who love on a daily basis to knock our country. We are not perfect, but we are evolving every day. And we've learned from our past. There's no doubt about it. I think those same fundamentals are really important. You know, I want my children and the children who are being taught in schools right now to learn that we are the greatest country on earth, to love this country, to be brought up to appreciate America, what not only our founding fathers had to go through to get America to actually exist, but what so many generations before them had to do to fight in World War I, World War II, to ensure that we have the freedoms that we continue to celebrate today. I think it's a shame whenever you look at what is being taught in schools in so many respects, teaching our kids to hate America. Because quite frankly, if you aren't taught to love something, you're not going to be willing to fight for it. And I think that's an important value.
Americans are capable of achieving extraordinary things when they have the freedom and opportunity to do so. This is American Potential.
Hey everyone, welcome to the American Potential Podcast. I'm your host, David Trump. So we had the opportunity to travel down to Nashville, Tennessee to attend the celebration of America's 250th birthday with Americans for Prosperity. And it was a blast. We talked to so many great people, so many great guests, just hearing their stories of why they got involved. But one guest had a very unique story. She really doesn't need much of an introduction because you've probably seen her on TV, maybe interviewed about different policies, hosting her own show on Fox News, or standing on stage with her famous father-in-law. So I want to share with you the conversation I got to have backstage with Lara Trump.
We're so happy that you're here joining us for our A250 celebration, celebrating America's birthday. I was, when we look, you've been up close and personal with presidential power and leadership in America. So I love your perspective on this. So when we think back to the founding fathers, what are some of the lessons that you think we could learn and carry forward?
Wow. Well, I mean, the foundation of this country, I think, is so special because it really was a group of everyday people who decided to take matters into their own hands and to form the greatest country on earth, the United States of America. The idea behind our country was really not that we have, a monarchy or some powerful head. It's that we, the people, govern ourselves. And so I think it's always important to keep that in mind, especially when you have crazy ideas floating around this country like socialism creeping up. And, we see people who tend to forget who we are as Americans. I always think that it's important to remind people of who we were in the beginning. We were a group of people who wanted freedom, liberty for all America, for all people. They developed this amazing country, and we're so blessed to live here.
I'm always struck by the idea that, the revolutionary concept of our rights coming from our creator and not from a monarch or anything like that. But all right, so now we look forward to the next 250 years of America, God willing. What do you think we want to have learned, and what value should we bring forward preeminently?
Yeah, well, listen, there is no perfect place in the entire world. And I know there are people who love on a daily basis to knock our country. We are not perfect, but we are evolving every day. And we've learned from our past. There's no doubt about it. I think those same fundamentals are really important. I want my children and the children who are being taught in schools right now to learn that we are the greatest country on earth, to love this country, to be brought up to appreciate America, what not only our founding fathers had to go through to get America to actually exist, but what so many generations before them had to do to fight in World War I, World War II, to ensure that we have the freedoms that we continue to celebrate today. I think it's a shame whenever you look at what is being taught in schools in so many respects, teaching our kids to hate America. Because quite frankly, if you aren't taught to love something, you're not going to be willing to fight for it. And I think that's an important value.
So we have a lot of grassroots activists who watch and listen to this podcast, some of whom are out here today, and you'll meet. But some of they care about liberty, but some of them have a hard time taking action or taking that first step to do something. What would you say to them?
Gosh, everybody can do something. The fact that I would argue maybe our greatest president, our 45th and 47th president, was a businessman and had no background in politics kind of tells you all you need to know. We live in a country where anyone can do anything, where, really it is about all of us taking matters into our own hands. And there's no position that's too small. There's nothing that doesn't matter. You absolutely should run for your local school board. You absolutely should get involved in campaigning. You absolutely should volunteer, because that's what makes this country great. And without people out there, everyday Americans taking action, stepping up to the plate, doing things even when they feel hard or impossible, we don't get to celebrate the greatest country on earth. So I would encourage everyone to continue on.
So finally, I mean, you've been up close and personal with the president, who's just and his family. I mean, you're part of the family, right? And arguably, you've been one of the person who's out front talking about the president's values, advocating for his agenda. When you're there together, like, what of these values are like important to the president and his family, and are kind of taught and discussed?
Oh my gosh. Well, I think he feels so grateful that he got to grow up in a country where really your only limitations are your imagination and your work ethic. You know, there are very few places on earth you can go and say, I have a dream, I'm willing to work harder than anyone for it, and I know I can achieve that. And it's what has made Donald Trump who he is today. You know, the success he's seen really can only be realized in a country like America. And so I think the American dream is something that is so foundational to who he is. It's something that he talked with our entire family about long before he decided to run for politics, that he was a little worried that the American dream was kind of slipping away from so many in this country. And I think it's why you see him working so hard to bring it back, to bring investment into this country, to bring back the manufacturing that once blossomed in our country, to make sure that every American can realize their version of the American dream. I think that is important to him now, but I always think that it's been something that has been top of his list.
That's great. Well, we appreciate you being here with us, the AFB, here at our A250 event.
Thank you.
Appreciate the work you're doing everywhere. So thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. What a
Appreciate you,
pleasure.
Lara Trump.
Thank you.
Friends, if you like this episode and would like to stay connected with the podcast, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Always remember, liberty and freedom are easily taken for granted. Don't take them for granted. Go out there and defend liberty and freedom. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to American Potential. You may listen to more stories from Americans working every day to expand freedom and opportunity in their communities by visiting AmericanPotential.com.